Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to our Music at Midday concert presented by St Paul's Cathedral, London, Ontario. And this afternoon, the concert is not coming to you from the cathedral because its doors are shut. And this afternoon's concert is going to be broadcast from my home here in Stratford on my Make-In, an English digital organ. The first piece on the programme is a Renaissance dance by the German composer Thielemann Susato, who lived about 100 years before J.S. Bach. So the first piece is called Morgentanz by Thielemann Susato. The next piece on the programme is by perhaps the most famous composer for the organ, J.S. Bach. And now being in the season of Easter, I've elected to play a chorale prelude that J.S. Bach wrote based on a Lutheran hymn tune for the season of Easter. What Bach does is he puts the melody at the top in the right hand in long notes with decorated accompaniment in the left hand and in the feet. The actual title of the chorale prelude is Christ is Risen Again. Before I play the short chorale prelude, I'll play the opening of the melody so that you know what to listen out for. And that'll be played on the clarinet stop. We are very pleased to present in our Music at Midday series lots of different instrumentalists and vocalists from time to time. And today my wife Catharine, who is a soprano in the cathedral choir, is going to sing a solo for us that's appropriate for the season of Easter. It's the very famous solo Abide With Me by American composer Harry Rowe Shelley, who hailed from the mid-19th century. Very much a romantic composer, he studied in New York and in Paris and with the composer Antonin Dvorak. He was eventually organist at the Riverside Church in New York City, but he has a wonderful way of setting poetry to music, and this particular solo, very, very expressive. So the next piece on the programme, the vocal solo, Abide With Me by American composer Harry Rowe Shelley.
Abide with me, fast for the eventide.
And now, two organ pieces by another romantic composer, Robert Schumann, well known for his songs and his piano concerto, of course, in A minor, a beautiful work. But Robert Schumann loved the organ. Towards the end of his life, when he was very sick and he was confined to home, a friend of his very kindly fitted a pedal board to his piano so that he could continue to practice, as it were, all of his organ repertoire. He loved to play the organ, and when he was confined to home at the end of his life, he decided that this was such a delightful instrument, the pedal piano, the piano with the pedal keyboard beneath, that he would write some pieces for it. And he wrote several sketches, short miniatures for the instrument, and of course they transfer beautifully to the regular organ because of the pedal board. So I'm going to play for you this afternoon two of those sketches. One is in C major, and then the other one is in D flat major. The second one in D flat uses the beautiful flute stops of the organ. So the next items, the two sketches by Robert Schumann. Many of you will know the composer of the next piece on my programme, Charles Marie Widor, very famous, of course, for his toccata, which many people often ask for at their wedding as the Recital. But I've chosen today to play a piece, the more reflective side of this composer. Charles Marie Widor comes from a long line of French organists and composers who spent most of his life in Paris. For nearly 64 years he was organist at Saint-Sulpice, one of the most famous organist positions in the whole of France. And he wrote 10 symphonies for the organ, taught and gave recitals all over the world, and was just a wonderful, wonderful teacher and player. So he knows the organ well, its resources and how to write for the instrument. So today I'm going to play you a movement from his symphony Gothique. It's called Andante sostenuto. It's a slow, very, very expressive and reflective movement, and it uses the beautiful soft stops of the organ, what we call the flute stops. You'll hear the melody at the beginning in the right hand. And he writes 2 parts for the feet, what we call double pedal, to get a real richness out of the instrument. So the next piece on the programme, the Andante sostenuto from Charles Marie Widor's Symphony Gothique. The final piece in today's programme comes from Russia by composer Georgy Mushel, who was born in 1909. He was a composer and pianist, studied at the Moscow Conservatory. During World War II, he moved to Uzbekistan, and he spent a lot of time there and based a lot of his compositions on folk songs, Uzbek folk songs. And this particular piece that I'm going to play, called Toccata, became very popular in the last 20 years or so. The British organist Gillian Weir has used it often as an encore, and it's proved very popular. So I've chosen today to finish with Georgy Mushel's Toccata. It uses the full range of the organ.